What is the coolest perk of any job you've had? I worked at a mom and pop pet store. When no customers were around, I could lie on the floor of the kitten room and be covered in a dozen fluffy kittens. I got paid to play video games. I was an invisible security at an adult arcade bar. I would come in at 8. Get a pocket full of tokens and hang out until 2. No posts to maintain. No trash duty. Simply be another customer playing video games until a bartender hollered at me to throw someone out. I work in a 4-story building. The top floor was vacated by some company a few years ago. But all the offices and bathrooms are still there. I happen to have the key to the floor door into the office from the emergency stairs. I go up there to go to the bathroom. Whoever was the head honcho there had a really nice bathroom. I set up shop up there with my own TP. Magazines. Soap. Ect for my own use. No one ever comes up there. And I have been using this bathroom for well over 2 years now. Company cell phone plan with unlimited internet. I use it as a Wi-Fi hotspot and haven't paid for internet in 3 years. When I worked at a movie theater in high school, we got to watch free movies. Eat free popcorn and soda our entire shift. And we would get the movie posters and banners after the movies were out. But probably the best thing was before we went all digital. We had to watch the 35mm film before it could release to ensure the timing was right and the audio matched up. And usually that meant you and 2 or 3 other people in a huge auditorium alone watching a brand new movie. What a f***ing great experience. It makes scary movies so much more intense too. I miss it. My dad used to work for the city health department. And part of his job was testing dairy products for pesticides. Every so often he'd bring home cartons of ice cream that had been tested. He works at the wastewater treatment plant now. He doesn't bring home samples anymore. Free car. With a gas card. With free in-town use. We get our birthday, or any other day of that week of our choice, off with pay. 1 hour paid lunch hour. Making the day a 7-hour work day. Free phone. Which we are welcome to port our personal number to, and have it ported back if we leave. Work from home 1 day week. I love my job. In the military, and we get an hour of our shift to work out. Literally. Get paid to do any form of physical fitness you'd like. Powerlifting. Walking. Yoga. Stretching. Swimming. Biking. Basketball. Etc. Free lunch. Just order it and have it billed to our account. If you stayed late, you would get free dinner as well from whatever restaurant you wanted. This was Midtown Manhattan. They would also give you a town car ride home if you stayed past 8. Get into any Six Flags park in the US for free. But the downside was I worked at Six Flags. I had a work-study job in college. I worked in the office for the department of my major. The woman I worked for said she believed more in the study part of the work-study program. Basically, if I showed up on time for my shift, and there was nothing she needed me to do, I was free to go and still was paid for the entire scheduled time. Especially the last 2 years of school when I was in the building all day. I would walk down there, say hello, and 75% of the time would go back to my area. Once when she was sick, she had me go to the campus center to get her soup for lunch. That was my job for the day. She was awesome. Pro. I get to sit in a recliner and watch TV. Read. Work out or whatever I want, really, as long as the station chores are done and we respond to calls when they come in. Con. Last week I got paid $8 for spending an hour scraping a body off of a train and into a body bag and consoling the family. Independence, which I squander on Reddit all day. I have free access to a makerspace with a dozen 3D printers, a laser cutter, most of the basic power tools, sewing machines, and laptops with fairly powerful 3D modeling software. I spend way too much of my time in there. Discounted hotel rooms. Sometimes I'll book a room for 2 days just for the hell of it. because a 2-day stay only costs me $30. For me it has to be working for UPS. I get 46% off shipping and running an eBay shop saves me a ton of money for secure deliver. Got to talk to Anthony Bourdain for 20 minutes about whiskey. Drank wine and learned how to make pasta for 5 days in Italy on my company's dime. Free Oreos anytime they come out with a new flavor. Ditto on Godiva and Ben & Jerry's. A portrait of myself made out of Cheez-Its. Source. I'm food journalist. When I worked tech for an insurance company, I got a couple free computers and a wireless mouse and keyboard set. The computers were being thrown away because we were upgrading. Asked my supervisor if I could have a couple. He said yes. Wiped all company info off them. Threw in some upgraded internal parts and took them home. The keyboard and mouse set was being thrown away because one of the fold-out foot things on the keyboard broke off. Everything else worked fine. But the little plastic foot was gone. So I kept it. Used to work for the Seagram company. We got $400 a year to spend on Seagram booze or anything they distributed as well. E.g. Absolute. I was 20 something then. My place was a popular hangout. Edit. The ex-Mars parties were pretty great there too. On a giant yacht. All the booze you could drink. Surprisingly, no one fell overboard. Part-time Starbucks partner. Other than the free coffee everyone knows about. We also get premium Spotify for free now. Former Disneyland cast member. Back when I worked in the park, I took a friend into the Phantasmic control booth, above Pirates, to watch the show. She got to see the guts of the show through the cameras. We stayed up there for the fireworks. Once during a former stage show, I arranged a one-on-one with Ariel and Belle and my little sister backstage. It was just right behind the stage door, so not fully outside. But she was so excited to have time to chat with them without having to share with other kids. So not the best perks ever, but some special moments. I currently do sales for a French company in the US. Some unique perks are traveling to France every year for team building. Unlimited vacation time, nobody is counting. And the option to work from home whenever I want. Worked at a small pub in Scotland when I was at uni. The manager was also the owner, so he would give us free beers at the end of the night to wind down and make multiple baskets of chips, fries, during the day for us to snack on. Combined with the easy hours and calm nature of the pub made it the all-time best job a student could have. I work at the library at my university right now. Best part is that my communication with other people is very low. Other than telling people to get out at closing and occasionally getting info from my supervisors. I don't have to talk to anyone. Also, I get to listen to music the whole time. Gotten through a lot of albums that way. When I was in college, I worked for an SC Johnson Blade factory as a summer job. Not only did the ladies love the guy with all the free scented candles, but the company store sold Ziploc bags. Raid. Fruits plus passion stuff and more for incredibly cheap, like $1 for a case of Ziploc bags. I've had a job where I was stuck at the office for hours upon hours just to be there. And for the last 2+ years, I've worked remotely for a different company. The overall perk of working from home is the ability to be independent and completely self-sufficient while also being allowed to achieve the work-life balance you need. No one breathing down your neck or watching your every move. Yet being trusted to be on top of your responsibilities when they need to be handled. I love that. This past summer I had my first job, internship, where I was allowed to come into work and I could wear clothes like shorts, a t-shirt, and even a hat. I know it's not the best, but it honestly helped me be more productive and enjoy going in a lot more than I thought I would. One job paid for my masters. Another job has given me free access to world-class shows and conferences along with Line Pass. That said, I'm actually going to go with the free sandwiches I got to eat at the sandwich shop I worked at in college. In the late 90s I worked in a tech support call center overnights. I averaged 6 calls a night, with average handle time under 5 minutes, meaning I actually worked less than a half hour each night. We had an insane amount of bandwidth and there were 4 other guys on the schedule. We played online games all night. We'd all go to the same server with our insanely low pings and totally dominate until an admin kicked us. Free fountain drinks. 80% discount on a pizza buffet. And a mother f***ing whistle. I blew the shit out of that whistle. Worked for a software company where we got free massages as part of our healthcare benefits. We found a massage therapist who would give you a happy ending and a legit receipt for a decent cash tip, or she would bill the company for an hour massage and just do the 30-minute quickie with a happy ending. So, getting jerked off on the company dime. Overnight shipping at a 90% discount. It doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it gives me wide latitude on shipping things without huge lead times. Comes in handy around the holidays and if I need to get something important to someone with immediacy. It takes the sting out of that. Seriously. It's cheaper for me to send it guaranteed overnight than ground or first class mail. Setting my own hours and working from home. There are plenty of weeks where I put in 50-60 hours, but the freedom from commuting and from office cultures is heaven. I get to legally open carry a firearm in California. Plus, some of my customers hook me up with free stuff, lunch, discounts, products, etc. Close bracket. When I was in grad school at WashU, I got free Metro Pass. It's a pity the Metro network was limited in Street Louis, but often I'd park somewhere and go downtown to attend ball games for free. I'd also pack my luggage to work and take the train to the airport to avoid airport parking. Needless to say, I made full use of it. Delivery driver here. Free pizza when I work. 50% off when I don't. No manager breathing down my neck. I always pick the music. Occasional free weed booze from a customer. I deliver to the local police stations a lot so all the cops ignore me. The perks and being able to stay above the poverty line while in school makes it a pretty damn sweet gig. Sean. This is a tough one. But lately, it's been the summer schedule at my office. They have a 35-hour work week. And the summer is divided into 2 phases. In either phase, participating means a plus 45-minute workday. Phase 1. Add 45 minutes to your days. And get every other Friday off. Normal hours otherwise. Phase 2. Just like 1. But the office closes at 12:30 p.m. on Fridays. No lunch break. And rotating Fridays off still apply. It wrapped up on September 2nd, but it was good having all that time off. Travel agent. They give me extra paid days to fly to pretty much anywhere and experience tours and all-inclusives and the like so I can sell it better. Usually it's free. It's okay, I guess. At a pet shop. Employees got to buy everything at the price the chain bought it, which was often less than half. Even 1/4 of the retail price. Some arsehole manager of another branch ended up waiving the VAT as well. So this got changed to 25% off everything. Which was still f***ing luxurious. Having had 7 cats and 2 dogs at the time. It was glorious. When I worked in the direct service non-profit sector, I'd get all the unwanted donated items or stuff we had too much of. I don't remember the last time I've had to buy shampoo, conditioner, soap, toothpaste, or basically any toiletry items because we'd literally get cases for 4 people. Someone also donated a whole hog once and we didn't have the storage space, so I go 20 pounds of pork chops and fresh sausage. Probably half my closet is in wanted clothes donations that we got with tags still on. Decent brands like Banana Republic and Ann Taylor. Every day was like Christmas. Not me, but a relative used to work at Buckingham Palace. I went with her to their staff film club once, which they held in one of the plush lounge rooms of the palace. They also had a sweet deal where if the Queen's box at the Royal Albert Hall wasn't in use by the royal family, staff could enter a ballot for free tickets. You just had to pay a cute $2.50, I think, admin fee for each ticket. So I saw a bunch of stuff there in the best seats on the house. Also free tickets to Trooping the Color. I used to work as a parts clerk for an airline company. Free flights as much as I want. Just fill out a little slip. Bring my company ID. Dress nice. And off you go. One summer visited Las Vegas at least twice a month. We get a $100 gift card every quarter for perfect attendance. That just means no call-offs. Vacation time and sick time are okay as long as it's approved 24 hours before use. I get $400 a year just for showing up. I work for a well-known mobile telecoms business in the UK. We get 75% discount off our bill, which means a UACute 55 tariff is now less than UACute 15.00 a month. Which is great. Far more data than I ever need. But it's there if I want it. 3 months ago I was on an internship. 3 months. Paid $546 per month. Not a lot at all. You're going to tell me. But I was sleeping at my boss. A nice house in the middle of France. He let me the 3rd story of his house. It included a room bigger than my old apartment. A private bathroom. And the boss and his wife let me access to their jacuzzi. PS4. Television. Gave me a Netflix account. And even lent me their car. The insurance was theirs and they paid for fuel. Incredible position. They washed my laundry and I ate with them. However, I had to work with my boss, who worked from 8 to 9 AM to 7 to 8 PM. It was incredibly harsh. Very exhausting job. I sometimes didn't have the time to eat at midday. And when he wasn't here, I had to drive 1.5 hours to work. And then back. I was permanently exhausted. And it was right after I had a bad pericarditis. So, I had everything. But couldn't enjoy it. I suck. I can walk 30 feet from my desk and be in a garage full of high performance cars. I get to drive most of those cars regularly and take them home overnight sometimes. Also open access to the car lifts and some other fancy equipment for personal use if I need it. The last job I had was a red-green monitoring job in a NOC, Network Operations Center. I spent the majority of my 8 hours binge watching Netflix and other streaming television. And for a while, I was able to play Steam games. Then the company was bought and they were like, you need to keep your desktop more professional while the bigwigs keep walking about. Honestly, it was nice. But also incredibly boring. I travel for my job. And got hourly overtime for it. I get paid well anyway. And can sometimes double my wage just for reading a book on a train. And obviously the cool perks of hotel life and expensed food. It's honestly a pain at times. But I can't deny it's a hell of a perk. I'm a roadie for a large stagehand company and I often get to watch the concerts I set up for free. Get paid lunches. Get into whatever venue the concert is at for free. Often zoos and other cool stuff like that. Get to meet the bands. And get a lot of free memorabilia like t-shirts and guitar picks from the band. When I worked as storeroom clerk at Roosevelt Lodge in Yellowstone, I had to get up and punch in at around 9 then wait for the delivery truck to arrive. I'd spend the next hour or so just hanging out. Maybe sweeping up a bit. Then the truck would show. I'd spend about 2 hours unloading the truck and pulling stuff to Thor. Then, as instructed by my boss, I'd go FCK off on the clock until the evening crew came in and pulled everything they'd be using for their shift. That gave me about 3 hours to hang out with friends. Take a nap and maybe have a couple of drinks. Heavy drinker back then. Then, I'd go back in. Do an inventory count and order the next day's deliveries. All in all, about 4 hours work with 8 hours pay. Oh. And when cookout came back from feeding tourists, we'd get the leftover steaks and beans. Never had this job because I'd abuse the privileges. But a pharmacist must destroy certain drugs if they are expired or some such thing. While most get flushed or incinerated, some pass through the pharmacist's body before they get turned into mostly harmless metabolites. Unlimited arcade games. I worked at Coleco back in the day, We did a lot of conversions from arcade machines to ColecoVision. You could come in anytime, day or night, and play. First job out of college. Full stop. Full stop. FCK yeah. I'll never forget coming in around midnight and finding the VP of engineering stoned out of his mind binging on Spy Hunter. He had good weed too. Driving rich people's Bentleys and Rolls Royces while I was a valet for a massive luxury car dealership. Paid 407 ETR. If you are in the GTA you know this is gold. Free toilet paper and trash bags. I haven't bought TP or a trash bag in 6 years. Sorry I can't tell you how it's free though. Let me just say it's the type of arrangement that if word get out, the arrangement will be stopped. But it's nothing illegal. Worked for a minor league baseball team for a couple of years. Could get myself and any close family members tickets to a game for free. I used to work in a wine bistro that was located inside of a bookstore. I used to get free food, sometimes free wine, and free books and magazines. Used to work at a small lube shop with an automatic car wash. After 6, the lube shop closed but the wash was open for another 3 hours. I'd be the only one in the building, aside from customers, which in winter were rather uncommon. 3 hours of getting paid to play loud music, read, or watch anime on my DS. Of course there were also shitty parts to make up for it. I used to work for a distribution company. We sold pretty much anything you'd find in a convenience store from candy to cigarettes to soda fountains, etc. The woman who owned our company also owned the local Anheuser-Busch distributorship. That meant that all of our company functions had beer. It also meant that twice per year, when we did inventory, she'd bring in 4-6 kegs for about 40 people, and we'd start drinking at 8 AM. Most of us would be hammered by noon. Management usually came in the next day to recount everything. Airline miles. I live in Hawaii and had a job that flew me into our island quite a bit. Got into the upper tier of the airline's frequent flyer miles, which was 2x miles for any flight taken. So it just snowballed into more and more airline miles. At one point they had a promotion that for every round trip you took during that promotional period, you got 10% off a round trip to the Philippines. Got the 10 trips fairly quickly. Free round trip to the Philippines. Planning to use them to take my wife on our delayed honeymoon once she's done with graduate school next year. I worked at a music pawn shop for a while. Whenever there was nothing to do we could basically do whatever we wanted. We would mostly just play guitar, piano etc. But we pretty often set up crazy sound systems. 30,000 plus watts. Play video games. Play with RC helicopters. On top of that I got so much free shit. Guitars, amps, TVs, you name it. I've got about $15,000 worth of stuff I got from there that I didn't pay a dime for. I'm a supervisor at an ice rink. I drive a Zamboni. A Zamboni. Screw the health insurance, the good salary, everything. When people ask what you do and you say Zamboni driver, it's f***ing awesome. 2 to choose from. Former job. Free range pass inside major sports stadiums while we erected the electronic displays there. Current job. Fly a flight simulator of whatever aircraft we happen to be building whenever I get time. Not a pilot, but they'll help me get a license if I want. Or I can just keep screwing around with what's essentially a more realistic video game. I've worked for a couple of breweries. And yeah, getting free beer is obviously cool. It's really good to go home and have a really f***ing good beer a bunch of your friends made. Plus, a few of the events I was in charge of were totally my idea. That I presented and was told sure. What I need? I threw the only big pumpkin beer fest in the area a few years back. Say what you will about them, but they're popular. And I just started a monthly comedy show at the tap room. Also got a ballpark shuttle service started with 2 other breweries on board. It's an industry. Around here at least. where if you have a good head on your shoulders, you ask questions, and you're willing to sweat figuratively and literally. But it can be really satisfying and fun. I work in a media company, which gives you date allowances, get over breakup gifts, pet spa allowances and so much more. The best of it is that the entire team is taken abroad for a week as the offside trip. Last year it was London. The trip is all expenses paid and we also got a UAQ 50 allowance per data shop. Being a junior in the company, people in higher positions never let you pay for alcohol or food.